Named after Queen Victoria, Victoria Park was initially the exhibition grounds built on 94 acres of East End Calgary land, purchased by the Agricultural Society of Calgary in 1889. Residents living north of the park in the East Ward also referred to their neighborhood as Victoria Park because of proximity to the grounds. The neighborhood's name became official after 1905. The exhibition grounds and Canadian Pacific Railway created an abundance of activity in Victoria Park until the 1940s, after which the area became more industrial and less residential. Over the decades, urban sprawl, industry changes, and Stampede Park expansion impacted the community's population, leading to the area eventually becoming rundown and deserted. Although it nowhere near resembles what it once was, there's still some cool stuff to see in the area. Let's take a tour through one of Calgary's oldest neighborhoods and check out some of the more interesting historical landmarks in Victoria Park. The 1906 Oliver residence, located at 619 13th Avenue Southeast, was one of 3 houses built in the area by Ernest Oliver and his father-in-law. Although the house looks like it's made out of sandstone, which was a major status symbol back in the day, its facing is actually an innovative and early use of pressed cement. Ernest, an engineer with the CPR at the 9th Avenue Yards, manufactured the cement blocks on site while building the house. The house is now owned by the Calgary Stampede. Built in 1911, 602 is a commercial structure with the first floor dedicated to business use and residential space on the second. Mostly used as a grocery store, the various tenants used to paint their store names on the side of the building. Over the past century, there has been Mossop Groceries, Tompkins Grocery, and Fortune's Grocery, to name a few. Although the building is referred to as Stevenson Grocery, I couldn't find a single bit of interesting information about the company during my research. Even in its dilapidated state, the Enoch Sales House is still one of Calgary's most intriguing and talked about houses. Built in 1904, the Queen Anne Revival-style mansion represents the wealth and luxury once associated with Victoria Park. Enoch Sales lived in the house with his wife, 4 sons, daughter, and a few boarders. Sales, who served as a captain in the militia, founded Sales Clothing Company in 1905, which was located next door to the Burns Building on 8th Avenue Southeast. Sales was once treasurer of the Alberta Rifle Association and used to hold annual meetings in his store. He was also one of Calgary's most famous rifle shots. Enoch Sales passed away in 1930, leaving the mansion to one of his sons, who rented it to tenants. The house was eventually split up into 15 units and now sits abandoned. The property's current owners, the Calgary Municipal Land Corporation, wouldn't let me enter the house, deeming it too unstable and unsafe. However, Avenue Magazine in Calgary wrote an article about the place back in 2015, which included interior shots. There's a lot of interest in preserving this Victoria Park mansion. Hopefully CMLC can make this happen. You may recognize this place from people's wedding or engagement photos, the remains of Calgary's second general hospital, Rundle ruins. Opening in May of 1895 with additional buildings constructed over the next 10 years, Calgary's second general hospital was located on the former site of the I.G. Baker store. It was a huge upgrade from the city's first cottage hospital, which was a 2-story former house of ill repute located on the corner of 7th Avenue and 7th Street Southwest. The new sandstone hospital could initially serve 25 to 35 patients at a time, had electric lights and telephones. This is all really high-tech stuff for the time. The hospital eventually became too small for Calgary's rapidly growing population, and by 1908, the staff moved to the new hospital constructed across the Bow River in Bridgeland. For a while, the building was used as an isolation hospital, and then in 1953, leased to the United Church of Calgary, who ran a seniors' residence there called Rundle Lodge. Most of the hospital was demolished in 1973, but the land and bits that remained was turned into Rundle Park. Built in 1911, this riveted steel Parker Camelback known as 12th Avenue Elbow River Bridge is located at 7th Street Southeast. It represents one of 3 historic bridges of its kind in Calgary, with the others located at 9th Avenue Southeast as you enter Inglewood, and across from the drop-in center in downtown. This century-old steel structure was supplied by the Algoma Steel Company and is 150 feet long and 26 feet wide. Back in the day, the bridge was a part of the street railway system that was integral to Calgary's early development, helping transport people to their jobs at the various industries of East Calgary. Across the bridge, where the Calgary Transit Victoria Park Garage now sits, is the birthplace of Calgary's first newspaper, the Calgary Herald, mining and ranch advocate and general advertiser, which was also one of the first 3 businesses in the city. The paper was published by Thomas Braden, the newspaper's sole reporter, and printer Andrew Armour. Printed on an 1845 H. Hoe & Company hand press that arrived on the first train to Calgary just 11 days earlier, the Herald hit the newsstands on August 31st, 1883. Joining the 2 men in printing the first issue was a gentleman from the East who had plenty of experience with newspapers, Mackenzie Bowell, who later went on to be Canada's 5th Prime Minister. There's not much left to this part of Victoria Park that resembles its early days. With the Calgary Stampede constantly increasing its grip on the area and CMLC planning the neighborhood's future, nobody knows if these historical landmarks will be preserved or bulldozed. However, until those decisions are made, take a trip down to one of Calgary's oldest neighborhoods and enjoy them while you still can.